Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Master of Orion II, where our empire is slowly growing. We have 3 systems now, but for reference, the humans, which are our good neighbors at most days, are already having 6, so probably we're a little slowish, but Bolo actually has two colonies, and I think at Enoch I'll do the same, because the second planet there is just exactly like the first one. So I'll actually get in there, and once they constructed the marine barracks, I think they can construct a colony base, and then they can... Oh, I forgot they have the robo-miner plant now that they can also construct, so I think they're gonna do that after the gravity generator. So actually here we have 2 planets as well. Maybe for some of the systems here that is also the case, but I'm just saying it... Just looking at the number of systems doesn't take everything into account. Oh, the Trilarian and human empires are now at war. Okay. So it seems that the humans have a neighbor called the Trilarian, and now they're starting a war for some reason. But that doesn't bother us because we're peaceful. Hello. I'm not interested in what you have to say, Siren the First. Your aggressive actions speak for themselves. Just stay away or you will be destroyed. Aggressive actions? Oh, we have further new contacts. Pray to whatever gods motivate you, Siren the First. We are coming for your ships, your planets, your people. Yeah, they're always very, very nice when you first meet people. But that's what diplomacy is for, so let's go and talk to people. Yes, you're a very mighty emperor, so I'll offer you some gifts for the mighty emperor, which I'll list up at in a moment. I give you reinforced hull, for instance, and augmented engines. We actually found them in an ancient research lab, so they're probably very powerful. Here, have it. Good. Exchange tech, what do they have? They have better fuel cells, which I don't need, and bombs, which I also don't need. So let's just say I'll give you another technology. I'll give you Space Academy. Come on. Goodbye. So then I'll check in with them in the future, and hopefully we can discuss some treaties. And I'll do the same with the Nolams. They also don't have anything I think I need, so let's offer a gift to them too. Some technologies. Yeah, they're probably gonna need it, so I'm gonna give it reinforced hull again. And what do I have? Augmented engines, of course. And now I'm giving them stuff that is basically useless, but that they don't really care. They just want shiny presents. If they don't really need it, then it's not my problem. So, whoa. I'll give you troop pods. Goodbye. Good. So, in some turns we can check back with them. Deuterium fuel cells. It's a good thing we didn't trade them because we researched them ourselves now. And titanium armor. Oh, I didn't read the text. I'm sorry. It's just an improvement on the armor and on the fuel tanks that we already had, I'm sorry. But I think we're gonna go for further advances in chemistry, because I would like to at least prepare some ships for war, because even if we have good relations with everybody, if they have a large fleet, it's probably not gonna save us from attacks. So I want to be at least somewhat prepared and want to construct ships in the near future. Matrosat Mentox, the legendary scientist. Whoa. Plus 45% science leader, famous, and a researcher. And he comes with research laboratory. I think we already have research laboratory, but he's famous at least, and he's a science leader, which is always good for our way of playing things. So consider yourself hired. And we've constructed a colony base. I think I'm gonna set down. Well, Bolo 3 would also be interesting, because they're also ultra rich, but they can't fit many people in there, which with biospheres at least they could fit 3 people in there. So I think I'm gonna go to Bolo 3 first. No, you're not gonna farm, man. This is an ultra rich planet. You're going to work, man. No farming. So I don't think I need cloning centers anyway. So I think first they're gonna build an automated factory, then biospheres, then a cloning center, then a gravity generator, miner plant, and then do what you like. I'll check in with you later. Good. Oh, we actually have not enough food at the moment, which is not good. So since in the future they'll not be building anything really critical at Mentar, I'll have them reallocate some more farmers. Good. Cloning centers, cloning generators finished. Cursus gains a level. I want to see it. I want to take a look at our officer pool because we now have 2 famous guys and a lot of researchers actually, which is interesting, to say the least. Where do I assign you? I mean, I could just fire Cursus, because basically Mentox is the same as Magistrate Cursus, but he's also famous. So I'm thinking about that, but he's a Psilon like us, so it would be a little impolite, I'd say. And we haven't found any ship officers so far, which is bothering me a little. I think I'll keep Cursus for the time being, but I'll think I'm gonna have to dismiss one of these guys eventually. Maybe it's even gonna be Chang, because farming leader is not that important, I think, unless it's really a big advantage. The researcher is very good at the beginning. Don't get me wrong. If just a flat-out bonus to research is very good in the beginning, but as the game progresses, I don't think it's that necessary anymore. Because +10 is nothing when you have many people doing research on many different worlds. So then a flat-out +10 bonus is not that much anymore. So, and Yota is also not very important. I mean, he's famous. He probably got us some of the other guys and got us some cheaper, but this bonus is very interesting once we have ships, but it's not crucial. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think just for purposes that he has something to do, I'll assign Yota here and keep Mentox for this system, so we can make a real badass research colony out of Donatis. Once the colony ship is finished, of course, so it'll be finished soon. Good, good. That's what I wanted to hear. Now we don't have enough freighters, so we have enough food, but we don't have enough freighters to transport all the food that needs to be transported, which is not good. So let's stop the starbase and let's build a freighter fleet first. Good, so that our people don't have to hunger too much or too long. We have an additional food source now. I think you can get back to research. Okay, the colony ship is done now, so now let's go to Donatis. Come on, faster! Mercolite missile carries a powerful chemically based explosive warhead capable of delivering 14 points of damage. Population control facility uses advanced chemicals to process factory waste. Only half the actual production of the planet is used to calculate pollution, which is very important because, as we've seen, pollution is a serious problem in some of our more industry-heavy planets at the moment. So something that reduces pollution is very interesting to us at this point. So I think I'll even go further into chemistry because there's an additional pollution reduction research going on next. So before we finish the starbase, build a pollution processor first. And so apparently Mentox didn't come with research lab. He instead came with auto lab, which is really awesome building. I didn't see that coming. Because the auto lab just produces 30 research points flat out, and you can build it on every planet, which is nice because considering our entire research is 141. And we have 5 colonies, and if we all produce just autolabs everywhere, we can effectively double our research points, which is really awesome. I did not see that, I'm sorry. So, I'm gonna speed up some things here so the people can work more effectively in the future. I guess you need biospheres soon, because the planet is about to become full in some turns. Good. So we finished a couple of stuff. And the auto lab was also finished now, so as we've seen, we got 30 additional research points here, which is awesome. And we need additional we need additional food again, I'm sorry. And we've got less pollution here now because of the pollution processor that we have on this planet now, which is good. So actually they produce much more much more minerals than Mentor does, but they don't have as much pollution, which is good. But I think Mentor is gonna construct a pollution processor rather soon anyway too. So let's just move it up a notch. And the auto lab, of course. I want auto labs everywhere. I'm sorry, I just like them because they're very deep in the research chain. So we would get them only very late normally. But because we have hired this awesome research guy, he actually gave us that earlier. Why am I building a freighter? I don't need freighters. I need food. Sorry, I was a little irritated there by the -1. We're actually lacking in food, so have additional farmers here. So yes, we colonize Donatis. Yes, and we'll stay. The rest of the guys that are gonna be living here will assign to research, so we can build a research base out of it. But first, we need to build some stuff so that the researchers have buildings where they can research. So it'll just look like an ordinary colony in the beginning, but as soon as they're done with robo-miner plants on the stuff, we're gonna build a research lab and an auto lab, of course, and biospheres we're also probably gonna need. I think even a little earlier. So, good. Very good. And we'll assign Mentox there. It'll not do anything. Oops, no. It'll not do anything for now, but in the future it will. Once we have researchers there. We're lacking food again. I don't like that very much, but it's okay. We can always reassign farmers here, because now this is not our main production facility anymore. We can just lessen the production here, and because Bolo is much more effective than that, than Mentor is, so... But what we're gonna build here next? That's an interesting question that I've been asking myself in the last minutes. I think we're gonna need a space academy, and I think then I'm actually gonna build ships. Just for purely defensive purposes. So let me take a few minutes now to actually explain ships. As you could see before I even went into the screen, there were some things already designed to fit into the ships, which was the recommendation for building this ship class that the automated system constructed several turns ago, which, as we see now, we even have space available. So let me just erase all of it and start at the beginning. So first, there are 6 size classes of ships, starting with the frigate, then the destroyer, then the cruiser, then the battleship, the Titan, and the Doomstar. At the moment, the largest ship that we could build is the battleship. For every larger ship, we would need specific research to actually build it. But for every increase in size class, the space actually doubles. So the frigate has 25, the cruiser has more than double of that, which is 60. The destroyer, the cruiser has even double that, and double, and more than double of the previous class. But the cost increases much more. So if we for instance compare the cruiser, which costs 300 just for the ship alone without any systems in it, and the battleship, then the battleship is actually much more than double of the cost of the cruiser. So in a way, the cruiser is probably more cost effective, and considering that we don't have excessive amounts of production right now, we have like 40 production or something, and we haven't we haven't built in any systems yet. I'm gonna go with cruisers as our first ships, but of course I'm gonna move on to bigger ships later. But for now, we don't have enough production, I think, to justify bigger ships. So let's fit this ship out, because right now it has no weapons and it has no special systems, which are these two things. There are also some additional information on the upper right hemisphere, which is basically which drive we're putting in, which doesn't take up any space. They're always there, and it always uses the best drive that we have. There's also no way to change it. Then it's gonna include the best armor we have, because there's no disadvantages to using better armor. It always takes the best armor that we have. On the right hand side we could actually change things, because at the moment we don't have any shield, and having no shield doesn't take up any additional space, but it also provides no shield, of course, because we don't have any shields. We don't have any shields researched even, so that'll not help us, but at least it's not going to take up space. And then there's also computers. The computers don't take up space, but they cost a little bit. So if we were to use no computer, the ship would actually be slightly cheaper. But the bonuses to hit are interesting. Yeah. Let's just leave the computer in, I think. So now we can outfit the ship with weapons and special systems. I'm gonna add some special systems first and explain a few of the very important. These are the special systems that we've researched so fast. I'm not gonna explain every one of them, only the ones I'm gonna be using, and give some reasoning for why I'm gonna use that. First thing that probably is gonna be used is the battle pods. The battle pods actually increases the available space on the ship by 50%, but the cost is really extreme. So, as I've talked earlier, I was talking about the cost of the ship classes. So it is actually debatable whether it would be more cost effective to produce to use the next higher ship class, but no battle pods, because the battleship costs like without battle pods costs like 700 without battle pods. And this costs with battle pods costs 475, but it doesn't have quite the space available that the battleship has even without battle pods. So it's doubtful to whether if it's actually more cost effective to just use the smaller ship but with battle pods, or the larger ship without battle pods. I'm going to use battle pods all the time. Also, there are other interesting systems which don't cost as much. For instance, what I'm going to be using is heavy armor. Heavy armor triples the amount of damage that our armor can absorb. I haven't talked about armor and structure yet, so I'm going to do that now. No, not troop pods. I don't need troop pods, thanks. As we see here, because of our titanium armor, we have 60 structure points on this ship and 60 armor points. The larger the ship is, also the larger the armor automatically gets, which is a further advantage of using bigger ships, of course. So if we were to use a battleship, it would have 100 of both. So, and if I install heavy armor, it actually triples the armor, because once damage is being done to our ship, the first thing that will stop the damage is the shield. We don't have any shield, and shields would reduce the incoming damage by a fixed amount, even if the shield is already down, which is in this no damage points blocked category that we don't have anything right now. And then the shield also has some strength. So first the shield will take damage. Once the shield is down, the next thing that will take damage is our armor, and once the armor is completely down, the structure will begin to take damage. The structure is actually divided into two further subsystems, which is pure structure and systems. So we have actually 30 structure and 30 systems structure, and it's randomized where you take damage. So your ship is destroyed if either your entire structure is gone, or if all your all your systems are gone. Sometimes you can just have luck and have some small amount of structure and systems left, and the ship is still being left standing. But if ship systems are being hit, you also lose special systems. you lose some special systems, and of course you're gonna lose weapons if your systems are being destroyed. So that's always a gamble. But having a heavy armor which triples our armor points will hopefully keep our valuable systems safe from enemy fire once it should get to that. The other things that we have right now are not interesting to the ship design that I have in mind, but I'll probably use some of them later. We can actually do the same thing with our structure by using a reinforced hull, but I don't want to waste additional space for fortifying our structure because I think fortifying the armor is valuable enough. The heavy armor upgrade also has a hidden effect that I'm probably going to talk about very much later into the game, and I'm just telling you now that there's an additional benefit to having heavy armor. And then we have weapons that we can install. So here's one thing that I have to talk about, so you actually understand some of the mechanics behind this game, which is the concept of miniaturization, which is basically the idea for that is, let's take the nuclear missile. In the beginning of the game, we researched nuclear missiles. So far we even have improved missiles, like the Mercolite missile, which actually does more damage. It does like 14 points of damage, whereas the nuclear missile does 8. And it only takes up a little bit more space. But probably the Mercolite missile would be more effective than the nuclear missile is under normal circumstances. However, the problem is that the nuclear missile, because we already researched further technologies in the chemistry department, actually our guys have learned to use less space than it originally used. I think originally it also used 20 space or maybe 15, I'm not sure. But right now it uses 13 because of miniaturization. And because of miniaturization we also have some additional enhancements available that we could use on the nuclear missiles, but not on the Mercolite missiles yet, because we just researched that. This is basically brand new technology. We don't know much about that yet. Whereas for the nuclear missiles, our people have had some time to experiment with that and basically make some improvements, some of which are very interesting. Some are just fluff, I think, like heavy armored, which makes the missiles take twice the amount of damage to destroy. So actually, if you want to throw missiles at the enemy, they're going to fly towards the ship. They have their own speed, and once they hit their intended target, they do some damage. But on the way there, they can actually be shot down by enemy fire. So if you use heavily armored missiles, then they'll not get shot down so easy, but it'll cost additional space and also cost. So I'm not going to use that. The same thing is true for ECCM, which you can actually outfit ships with some basically radar deprivation technology, which jams your missiles and gives your ship a chance to just evade missiles by jamming them. But the AI only uses this very rarely, so I don't think it's needed for AI ships. If you were playing against human opponents, that would probably be a different discussion. But I think against the AI, you don't see much of a difference. So I'm going to use fast missiles instead. Fast means that the missile will get there faster because its speed is increased, and it's also more difficult to hit because it's faster, which also helps with the missile's defense. And I think that the missile actually gets to its target faster is actually worth the upgrade alone, because it'll give you some chance for strategies that otherwise would not be possible. And then there's the most important upgrade that I'm going to talk about now, which is MIRV. Basically, MIRV is multiple image recognition. No, I'm not sure what the shortcut is actually stands for. But what it does is, MIRV missiles actually carry 4 separate warheads, which separate from the missile just before the impact. Which means, if the missile gets shot down before that, then tough luck. The much bigger space that's being used for MIRV is actually wasted because you lost your missiles in transit. But if the missile actually makes it to the target, it'll actually do about 4 times the amount of damage for about less than twice the size, which is, I think, really nice. And since the missiles are going to get to the enemy rather fast, I think this MERV upgrade is actually worth it. So I'm going to use that. You can also modify how many shots you want to have with a missile. So normally you have 5 shots, which means the combat is also turn-based, so you could basically fire missiles for 5 turns and then you're out of missiles. You could actually increase that if you want to have missiles for longer engagements, and corresponding to that, the system would actually take up more space, up until 20, which would take, yeah, about twice the amount of space that times 5 shots did. But actually I'm gonna reduce it by only taking 2 shots, which will further reduce the space. But on the other hand, I'm gonna take a lot of nuclear missiles. So basically what we're trying to achieve here is constructing a missile boat. Yeah, which is actually what I'm gonna name this birdie. I'll call it Boat 1. So basically the strategy for the ship is basically fire and forget. You try to fire your missiles onto your targets. You only have 2 turns to fire missiles, so you have to pray that you hit what you want, and that after those 2 turns the enemies are all dead, which they probably are, because you have lots of missiles, because you only have ammunition for 2 turns. But if there's some enemies left standing after 2 turns, then yeah, that's not so good. So I'm actually gonna build more than one of this, but they can actually do a serious amount of damage. So yeah, let's just have Bolo finish with the starbase and then the Space Academy, and then we're actually gonna build a couple of those. Since we have the new colony on Antares, we can actually now send our scout to new systems, and we also have better fuel cells, so our reach is actually better. So we can actually go somewhere. Sorry that I talked a lot about ship designs in this episode, but I had to do that at some point, and hopefully before we have a first engagement. And I wanted to give you the reasoning behind what I'm doing. So I'm gonna build a boat, and I'm gonna build biospheres, because the amount of colonists here is almost full. So we're gonna need biospheres to increase that by 2 even. And then we're gonna build another boat, at least 1. I think I'm even gonna build more than 1. But before I build more than 1, I think you have every right to construct missile bases, fighter garrisons, and armor barracks. Utah, it's completely empty. It's just the sun. That also, some systems don't just include anything. I mean, we have already seen systems like Sadr, which just had a gas giant. Atmospheric renewal eliminates many dangerous particles from the atmosphere of a planet. The amount of production is quartered before calculating the pollution. Effects are cumulative with a pollution processor. Iridium fuel cells supplies sufficient energy to propel a ship 9 parsecs before refueling. Pulsar missile carries a powerful high-energy pulse capable of delivering 20 points of damage. Modifications. Okay. What's next with construction? No, I'm not that interested in that. I think I'm actually gonna research some shields now, and I'm gonna show you something, because just a few turns ago, before we have researched the new progress in chemistry, we actually built the design for the Boat 1, right? So now I'm gonna get back to it, and because we even have further miniaturization for our nuclear missiles, actually the space of the entire ship has been decreased. So actually now we have even more space available than we had before, which I could use to include more weapons, of course. And I could also show you now that the Mercolite missile has some miniaturization researched. They have actually some of the upgrades that the nuclear missile already had, but not all of them. But still not enough upgrades for me to actually use it. So let's call this a modified design for Boat 2. So I'm actually gonna replace this now with Boat 2s, which, because of the production system that the game uses, doesn't do anything. It's actually cheaper than the Boat 1 was, because miniaturization also means that stuff gets cheaper. So militarization is good. Sometimes militarization can lead to the result that actually building older weapons is much more powerful and cost effective, which is, I think it's different than most other games, because there you always want to go for the newest shiny weapons, and here there are some good reasons to use old weapons because of miniaturization. But we have new research now. Class 1 shield protects ship from physical and energy attacks, absorbs up to 5 times the ship's size and damage before failing, with each attack reduced by 1 point of damage, regenerates 30% per combat turn. ECM jammer creates a magnetic pulse, jamming both weapon tracking systems and missile guiding systems, adding plus 70% to ship's missile evasion. And mass travel, railgun firing a hypervelocity projectile inflicts 6 points of damage, damage is not reduced by range. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about beam weapons once I get to build ships with beam weapons, actually, because beam weapons actually have other problems than missiles do. Missiles have a problem of being shot down on the way to their target, and ammunition, of course. Beam weapons have different qualities and problems, so to say, but I'm gonna talk about that sometime else, because I think listening to me explaining all that stuff probably made some of your heads go close to exploding, so I don't want to talk about that further now. So we need a freighter fleet, so I'm gonna actually build that at Mentar, because Bolo is busy building the boats. But I could build the atmosphere renewers. How does your garbage level look like? Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna build an atmosphere renewer first, because it's even lessens the amount of production that is being lost because of waste. So right now we have 70 something production, and now that the pollution processor has been built, we have 80 something production and no waste, actually. That's good. That's very good. So our other new colonies are working shiny. So let's speed up the cloning center here. And the Nolams are... no, that's my ships. The Nolams have a destroyer and a cruiser here and 2 transport ships. I'm not sure if they're in striking range, so maybe they're thinking about attacking us, but let's talk to them instead. Maybe... oh, I forgot to talk to them earlier. But I'm interested in your planetary supercomputer. Yeah, I'll give you missiles. Sure? Sure, man. So, let's trade. Okay, thanks. Bye. So, do you have something that I am interested in? Planetary stock exchange. I'm actually interested in that. For Autolab. That's a tall order, man. No, I'm sorry. I'll give you some other technology as recompensation. I'll give you troop pods. And how about a trade treaty? We must decline, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. So we're actually losing money again because we started a trade treaty with the Nolams. Anti-grav harness allows ground troops and armor to fly, increasing their mobility and defense, adds plus 10 to their ground combat rating. Gyro destabilizer creates a sudden rift in the ship's subspace field, weakens the inertial controls of a ship, spinning at random directions, inflicting 1 to 4 points of structural damage times the ship's size class. Range is 15 squares. This is a very interesting and special weapon that I could talk about a lot, because there's a very interesting strategy involved using them, but I'll probably not do that. Inertial stabilizer creates a partial warp field that can operate in normal space. It vastly improves the ship's mobility and makes it considerably harder to target, adding plus 50 to ship's beam defense and halving movement costs for turning. This is actually a very interesting subsystem. But next thing I'm gonna research is magnetogravics. Magnetogravics. Okay, we've discovered a new system, the Vox system, which has an abundant but heavy G planet. Why are there so many heavy G planets around us? Always, everywhere we find heavy G planets. As if the program knows that we don't like heavy G. So, we actually constructed our first ship here, which is the boat. Actually, this Nolan planet would be in striking distance, but I don't think I'm gonna go to war at this point. Yeah. So now let's take a look at the fleet operations, because now we have a ship and the fleet's window gets additional information about the ships, because as you can see now, the ship has a regular crew, which means it has 55 experience points. Normally ships would start at 0 experience points, would be a green crew, but because we have built a Space Academy at this planet, they start at 50 EP. The maximum limit is 500 actually. And now this ship will gain experience every turn. Some experience it will gain because of Director Yota, because he's basically training them because he's an instructor. So you're gonna increase the experience points by 3 every turn, and they also get experience via the Space Academy that's still on the planet. Which means this. No, I don't wanna. Yeah, ship station in the system gain 2 experience each turn. I'm gonna try something out that I'm not sure how it works. So I'm gonna actually build a Space Academy here too. Because since there are multiple planets here, I think it should stack. So that ships get additional 2 experience for every Space Academy that is on the system. But I'm not exactly sure about that, so I'm gonna try it out here. Spy is done. And the colony base in Enoch is done. Good. So let's just take the random, the normal order, which is automated, cloning, gravity, robo-miner, and then do what you want. And we found the Qui system, which has a wormhole to the system of the humans. Because we have a non-aggression pact, we could actually go to their systems and they won't attack our ships, or at least they shouldn't. They could still decide to, nope, not today. But let's just make further treaties with the Nolams. Good. So we now have a research treaty too. How about the non-aggression pact? And they will reject the non-aggression pact. That makes me sad, but suit yourself. So I'm actually gonna go to the other end of the wormhole here just to see how the system looks like. Whoa, that's nice. Large Terran and poor planet and a small Gaia and a tiny Terran planet. It's an awesome system actually. Huh, very nice, very nice. You have it very nice here, dear neighbors. So we go back to the wormhole. And is the Space Academy already done? I think so. Why are you having farmers, Bolo? You have awesome minerals at your planet. You're not going to work as farmers. You're gonna work as in real work. So Space Academy here is done. So let's check how many experience points the boat has now, which is 77. Now the next turn it has 83. So it seems to stack. Because without the stacking it should have 81, but instead it has 83, which is good. So if they don't have anything to do, it seems to be valuable to just let them be stationed in systems where you have a lot of colonies with space academies, which is Bolo. So they can stay at Bolo, I suppose, because we could even build additional planets, which I think I'm gonna do. You're not that far. Okay, you're done with marine barracks. I think you're gonna build a new colony base, then you can build your pollution processor, an auto lab, and then I want another colony base. Because Bolo 4 has more important things to do, like build new awesome ships. And did we build a supercomputer on our research planets? No, you didn't think of that. That's sad. I don't need hydroponic farms, man. It's boring. So let me actually tell you what to do. I need missile bases, fighter garrisons, armor barracks, battle station. Why I said I'm gonna build a supercomputer, but I built a space academy instead. Yeah, I can build that, but later. The supercomputer is important because it increases the research for every researcher by +2, and we have a lot of researchers here, so it will actually increase our research by quite a bit. So we have another breakthrough, class 3 shields. Protects ships from physical and energy attacks, absorbs up to 15 times the ship's size and damage before failing, with each attack reduced by 3 points of damage. Regenerates 30% per combat turn. Planetary radiation shield. Reduces solar and cosmic bombardments. Life forms can comfortably move around the surface. Radiated planets become barren. Reduces damage against the planet by 5 points. These are actually very interesting, because if you have colonies on radiated planets, you can basically transform these colonies into barren planets by installing radiation shield, and then once they're barren planets, you can use terraforming to increase these barren planets to even better planets. So that's actually very important. Warp Dissipator creates a large radius field about a ship that prevents any ship from entering into hyperspace. Enemy ships cannot retreat while this dissipator is functioning, which is also an interesting device that I'm probably not gonna build soon. What about computers? Yeah, I think I'm gonna research some computer systems. Oh, there's someone going there. Akari. Ooh. So, it seems like in the south we have additional neighbors. We're just seeing some ships on our scanners, but we haven't made contact yet. So, probably in the next episode we're gonna meet a new neighbor of ours and see how big their empire is so far. Our empire is doing fine, I think. We have our first ships, and we have some very productive colonies, so we'll see how everything goes, and thanks for watching, and see you at the next episode. Bye!